Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic, what is today's topic? Today's topic is our senses, sensing, feeling, and using our senses as a vehicle to become present. And I'm excited about that because we get to experience really the deliciousness that we talk about in our morning centering in this physicalness that we are and utilizing that as a way to become present. So let's take a minute to bring ourselves here by taking a deep breath in through your nose. Hold it and imagine sparkling, clean, crisp oxygen just flowing into your lungs and moving into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells and all your organs. And as you exhale, exhale any tension and stress that you might be feeling in your body. And let's take another deep breath in through your nose. And this time, imagine sparkling white light. Now it's coursing through every molecule. It's connecting and invigorating and enlivening, electrifying all these molecules that are part of your being and connecting you with the outside world. And as you exhale, just allow yourself to relax into your body and become present. Let's take our palms and gently press them together. Softly, softly, softly rub your fingers against your palms. Feel that tingling and the tickling and the softness and the just all the sensations, because that's what we're talking about today. Is we're going to have a sensational time together. So let's just bring ourselves present right here, right now. And let's talk about the senses. So, our senses are how we interact with the world, how we experience the world, and yet we rarely pay attention to our sensual experience in and of itself. So before I dig into this, I just want to say welcome. It's great to have you here. Good morning. Good morning. And chime in, let me know you're here. I love spending this time with you and so appreciate any interaction. It helps me to feel connected with you even more. So let's talk about our sensual experiences. We often associate sensuality with sexuality, but the fact is we are sensual beings, meaning we get our feedback from the world through our senses. And so there's a deliciousness in these senses that we get to really explore and enjoy in a conscious way, to appreciate them even more, and also to find our way to presence by connecting with these amazing senses that we have. So we started out today by just softly rubbing our fingers against our palms and feeling the feelings. If you can presence yourself to that, and you can put your focus on that and your attention, because there is a sensual stimulation there, we have the ability to hone our focus, to pinpoint our focus on that experience, right? Because our senses are purely experiential in nature. And when we are able to connect to the sensual experience, we're able to get out of our heads and into the moment. And what I experience, I'm wondering if it's the same for you, is that when I put my focus on pretty much anything, the rest of me calms down. And when we put our focus on a sensual experience, the rest, the thinking stuff can calm down because we're focusing our attention. So now that's tactile focus, but you could also just gently touch your shoulders and feel that touch. And if you put your attention on that touch, allow yourself almost to see it as you feel it. And again, that's a way that we can create focus. What you probably will notice is that your breath shifts, that the tension in your muscles shift as you feel different sensations. So if you just gently rub your face or brush your fingers against your face, and if you're too ticklish, you can just feel it more solidly. And notice that you're feeling in your fingers and you're feeling in your face at the same time. And notice how you're processing that sensation. What is it like to feel that sensation? Do you have a visual that goes with it? Now let's put our attention on our visual stimulation. And I've often spoken of beauty and the transformative power of beauty. And I invite you to allow your eyes to sort of scan your environment. And as you're scanning your environment, look at things without interpretation. Just notice all the visual input that you're getting. Notice if you see kind of flickering of energy. Notice if you see colors and textures that you hadn't seen before. Notice shapes, and just without the need to interpret, just allow your eyes to sort of gently touch or gently caress everything that you're seeing, and notice all this input that you have coming through your eyes. And now what you could do is close your eyes and notice what you see, because I don't know about you, but I don't really see blackness. Sometimes I see different colors. Sometimes I see flashing sparks of light. Sometimes I see colors emerging in the blackness, or I see movement. I see all different things. And as you put when you close your eyes, you can see that there's stuff going on in there. And as you put your attention on it, you see even more. So I'm wondering if any of you are experiencing that same thing as you're trying out these exercises. Now let's move to smell. Let's move to what we can smell, sense through our nose. Olfactory memory is one of the strongest memories of sense and fragrances and odors. And our olfactory memory has a tremendous power to trigger experience. So when we smell a smell from our childhood, for instance, it triggers a vivid memory, even a memory that had long been forgotten. So now I invite you to focus on what you can smell, and you might want to close your eyes to do that, but put your attention on what you smell in your environment, what the different scents are, if they change depending on your attention or the depth of your breath. And it'll be very interesting to notice the smells that you become aware of that you weren't aware of before you put your attention there. So what you may smell a pleasant smell. You may smell a smell that you don't particularly enjoy. You can then feel into the kinesthetic response that you have in your body. In other words, if you're smelling a smell that you find unpleasant, notice that you might have constriction in your body as an automatic response to it. If it's a smell you enjoy, you might feel like an opening in your body, in your heart. We all know about the power of aromatherapy. And if you don't know, this is something really exciting and interesting to check out. But again, it's using the olfactory sense to affect healing and change. So, for instance, when you smell a rose, if you're not allergic to roses or don't have some particular aversion to them, when you smell a rose, it opens. It tends to be a heart opening type of fragrance. And so, this is another way that we can use our senses to become more present to our experience and also transform our experience. When you smell something delicious, it just radiates through your body with such a sensation of pleasure. At least that's my experience, and the same thing with certain visual stimulation. Beauty for me creates a visceral experience of opening and pleasure and connection and expansiveness. So, what do you notice when you smell something, or when you put your attention on your sense of smell? And what you might notice as you are putting your attention on what kinds of smells you're accessing, you may become more aware of your physical sensations. Like, I became aware of sort of an itching in my nose, and like a little bit of a tickling in my upper back. And this is a way to become present. We can occupy our minds in so many ways. We could be looking at the flickering of a candle. We could be focusing on our breath. We can also, in this case, be focusing on our senses and our sensual experience, or our sensational experience, with all the sensations that we can bring our awareness to in a given moment. So, we also have a very powerful sense of taste. And when we're not eating or drinking, we rarely put our attention on our sense of taste. But what happens if you just sort of tune in and become aware of the taste that's in your mouth? We say it left a bad taste in my mouth, or that's just delicious. And so I invite you to just presence yourself to what is the taste that you're aware of in your mouth. And the taste may be associated with the fragrance or the odors or the smells that you just smelled too. So notice the taste, or your experience of taste. And if you want to, you could uh, take a favorite food that you love the taste of, and instead of eating it, taste it, and taste what that taste is like. Taste it and notice what happens in your body as you're tasting it. Notice what happens energetically for you as you taste that thing. Um, and then you could also, we can blend these senses. Well, we did the sense of touch, taste, let's talk about hearing because we didn't talk about that yet. So oftentimes, well, the way that the human brain works really is as a limiter to limit the amount of stimulation that we experience so that we can function, so that we can do stuff. But what we're looking at now is to be creating focused attention to expand the the experiences that are often just completely disregarded or subliminally integrated. So let's put our attention on hearing. Right now, you're hearing my voice. What else are you hearing? So for me, there's an air conditioner going on in the background that has its own rhythm. And as I tune into its rhythm, I hear nuances of it that I hadn't heard before. I hear the sound of my computer chugging along as we're in the process of as I'm using it to communicate with you. I hear the creak of my chair. And if I really tune in, I can kind of hear my heartbeat in my ears. So, this is a practice of noticing and awareness and presence. You might hear different tonalities in my voice. You might hear the sound of your breath. And notice how much there is to be able to put your attention on and the nuances that are accessible when you really do focus your attention and intention. And as you put your attention on what you're hearing, just allowing the hearing of it instead of any story about anything and everything, which is what we do all the time, right? We're constant story making machines. How does that feel for you? How does it feel to be in your body, hearing the things that you're hearing? Just putting your attention on the sounds and allowing them to sort of wash over you and experience the experience of hearing and noticing and focusing your attention. And so then we have the ability to create a synergy or a synthesis between these different sensual experiences. So if we can look at color, perhaps we can imagine looking at something, seeing the colors, and imagining the taste of them, or imagining the sound of them, and allowing ourselves to sort of flow into that synesthesia, it's called, when you blend the experience of multiple senses. Some people have that happen for them automatically where they taste color or they see sound. And what what we can do is we can play with that, we can practice that and have an experience of it that we generate through our concentrated attention. And what happens to your body as you make these shifts and these associations? Because what you're doing is you're expanding your context, you're expanding the container in which you perceive. And when you expand the container within which you perceive, interestingly, through focus, you would think focus is narrowing, but in this case, what we're doing is using focus to expand. What happens as you expand yourself and your experience into this new association, this new neuro association, your experience of the world becomes richer. And I wonder, after you take a few moments to imagine hearing or tasting the color that you see, um, then what happens when you look around the room, or you listen to what is happening in your world, or you touch into a sensation? Like, what if you imagined a color to the sensation that you have? It's very, very, very powerful and expansive. And you are, by doing that, creating new neural pathways that are enriching to your experience. So, fun exercises, I hope. I hope you're finding it interesting and curious and stimulating. And I invite you to throughout the day bring yourself back from time to time to the sensual, sensate, sensational experience of being the physical being that you are, navigating what looks like, well, being the physical being that you appear to be, navigating what appears to be a physical world. So I hope you enjoy. I thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Mira Rubin. I'm here every day, weekday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. For this show is called The Core Connection. And um, we're here on Enlightened World Network on their Facebook page daily. Before we complete here, Dido added how interesting about synesthesia and how it can be cultivated. I have a little perhaps when I see colors. I experience them as taste almost. I cannot help but experience some colors as sour. That's really interesting because I know, Dido, when I see colors, yeah, some colors I can imagine, I can relate to feeling that some colors are sour, and so much of color input to me is delicious. Like, I experience it like the delicious sweetness of, I'm going to say candy, but candy is so oversweet typically. But delicious sweetness of a perfectly ripe fruit. And I think if we can create this experience of synesthesia, like the sensation of the wind sounds like something, or um, so Hope says, thank you, Mira. We'll catch up with the replay as I've just come on. Hope, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for chiming in. I think you'll dig it today because it was kind of a meditative opportunity to really experience our senses and utilize our attention on our senses as a way to focus in on presence, to become more present. And it's really quite delicious um, and experiential to bring us beyond our day to day hustle and bustle to take a moment and really relish how remarkable it is to be receiving all the sensory input that we do. So I'm going to wrap it up for the day and say thank you again for being here and playing with me in these wonderful exploratory realms. And I invite you to check out the Facebook page of Enlightened World Network and Enlightened Living. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Lots and lots of love, deep compassion, and until next time.